"I'll think about it," Ziora said, her voice trembling. The woman nodded and faded into the shadows, leaving Ziora alone in the clearing with the jar of magical powder in her hands. That night, Ziora sat in her room, staring at the jar on her vanity. The moonlight streamed through the window, casting a soft glow over the powder. Her thoughts raced. Could this be her chance to be seen? To finally be beautiful in the eyes of the kingdom and the prince? She opened the jar carefully and sprinkled a small amount of the powder onto her skin. At first nothing happened, but slowly her skin began to lighten, turning a soft golden hue. She gasped as she watched the transformation in the mirror. Her reflection shimmered with a new beauty, one that fit the kingdom's impossible standards. The next day, Ziora entered the palace hall where preparations for Oma's engagement were still underway. Heads turned as she walked in. Servants and nobles whispered among themselves, astonished by her sudden change in appearance. Her mother's eyes widened with surprise, and even Oma, though confused, couldn't hide her admiration. But it was Prince Obina's reaction that made Ziora's heart skip a beat. He approached her with a look of awe. "Ziora," he said softly, "I had not realized how beautiful you truly are." Ziora felt a rush of emotions, joy, excitement, and something else she couldn't quite place. But as the prince spoke, Ziora noticed a strange feeling deep inside her. A weakness in her legs, a slight tremor in her hands. She brushed it off, convinced it was just the excitement of the moment. The days passed, and Ziora's new beauty captivated the court. Prince Obina began to seek her out more frequently, leaving Oma in the shadows. Ziora's heart soared with the attention, but with each passing day she grew weaker. Her once lively spirit dulled, and the joy she had always felt in helping others faded. As Ziora's relationship with the prince blossomed, guilt began to gnaw at her. She knew she had deceived him, her family, and the entire court. Every time the prince gazed at her with admiration, Ziora's heart twisted. He didn't know the truth, that this new beauty wasn't truly hers. Late at night, Ziora would stare at her reflection in the mirror, the golden hue of her skin no longer bringing her joy. Her eyes, once filled with warmth and kindness, now seemed hollow. She missed her old self, the Ziora who was known for her intelligence and compassion. But it was too late. She had gone too far. As her body grew weaker, Ziora began to wonder if the powder had a darker side. She hadn't heard from the mysterious woman since that fateful night, and she feared that there was a price she had not been told. One evening, as Ziora wandered the palace gardens, she overheard a conversation between two palace elders. Hidden behind a tall hedge, she listened intently. "The curse still haunts this kingdom," one of the elders said in a hushed voice. "The royal family has never told the truth," the other replied. "Their obsession with light-skinned women is because of the curse. Centuries ago, the first king of Alahiri wronged a dark-skinned sorceress, and she placed a curse on the royal bloodline. Only light-skinned queens would be allowed to marry into the family, or else the kingdom would fall into ruin." Ziora's heart raced. Could this be true? Could her transformation be tied to this curse? Suddenly everything made sense. The royal family's obsession with beauty, the mysterious powder, and her own deteriorating health. The woman in the forest must have been the sorceress, seeking revenge on the kingdom by cursing Ziora with this false beauty. Ziora felt a wave of nausea. She had been a pawn in a centuries-old game of revenge. As the day of Oma's engagement ceremony drew closer, Ziora knew she had to make a choice. She could continue using the powder, deceive the prince, and become queen, or she could break the curse and reveal the truth, even if it meant losing everything.